We live in an increasingly fast-paced world where external demands often leave us exhausted and lost. But what if I told you that the key to a more balanced and meaningful life lies in an ancient philosophy which has already helped emperors, leaders, and ordinary people face the most difficult challenges? I'm talking about Stoicism, a practical philosophy that teaches us to focus on what really matters and to deal with adversity in a serene and effective way. In this video, you will discover 12 Stoic principles that can transform your life, bringing you more emotional balance, focus, and satisfaction, regardless of external circumstances. These principles are not just abstract theories, they are powerful tools that you can start applying today. Imagine waking up every day with a sense of clarity, knowing exactly how to deal with the challenges that come your way. Imagine feeling more present, more grateful, and more in control of your emotions. All of this is possible when you put into practice the teachings of the great Stoic philosophers, such as Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and Epictetus. So, if you're ready to take the first step toward a fuller, more meaningful life, keep watching. These 12 principles could be the turning point you've been looking for. And best of all, you can start applying them right now. Before we dive into the 12 Stoic principles, it's important to understand where this philosophy comes from and why it remains so relevant today. Stoicism emerged in ancient Greece around the 3rd century BC and was developed by thinkers such as Zeno of Citium, who sought a way of living in harmony with nature and with themselves. But it was in Rome that Stoicism gained strength, with figures such as Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius, who applied these teachings not only in their personal lives, but also as leaders and rulers. What makes Stoicism so special is its practical approach. Unlike many philosophies that are limited to abstract theories, Stoicism is a tool for everyday life. He teaches us how to deal with emotions, face adversity, and find meaning even in the most challenging situations. And although it is more than 2,000 years old, this philosophy is incredibly current. We live in an era of excess information, distractions, pressures, and expectations. Many of us struggle with stress, anxiety, and the feeling that we're always rushing but never getting anywhere. This is where Stoic principles become an anchor. They help us to focus on what really matters, to accept what we cannot change, and to act wisely when faced with what is within our reach. For example, how many times have you felt frustrated by something that was out of your control? A traffic jam, an unfair criticism, a plan that didn't work? Stoicism teaches us to differentiate between what we can control, our actions, thoughts, and attitudes, and what we cannot. Traffic, other people's opinions, unforeseen events. This simple distinction can drastically reduce stress and anxiety, allowing you to direct your energy towards what really matters. And that's just the beginning. Throughout this video, you will discover how other Stoic principles can help you deal with purposelessness, procrastination, dissatisfaction, and many other common challenges. Stoicism does not promise a perfect life, but a lighter, more conscious, and more meaningful life. Now that you understand the context and relevance of Stoicism, it's time to dive into the 12 principles that will transform your life. Shall we start? Under Control Dichotomy 1, of the central pillars of Stoicism is the dichotomy of control, which teaches us to differentiate between what is in our control and what is not. According to Epictetus, some things are within our control, while others are not. This may seem simple, but applying this principle is profoundly transformative. Practical example. Imagine you are stuck in a traffic jam. You can't control the traffic, but you can control how you react to that situation. Instead of stressing and getting irritated, you can use this time to listen to a podcast, reflect on your day, or simply take a deep breath and relax. Direct benefit. By focusing only on what you can control, your actions, thoughts, and attitudes, you dramatically reduce stress and anxiety. This allows you to direct your energy towards what really matters, rather than wasting it on pointless worries. Amor fati, loving destiny. The amor fati, or love of destiny, is a powerful concept that encourages us to accept and embrace everything that happens in our lives, whether good or bad. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great names in Stoicism, said, "What fire cannot destroy, it strengthens." In other words, the challenges we face can make us stronger and more resilient if we know how to deal with them. Practical example, imagine you lost your job. Instead of allowing yourself to be overcome by frustration and fear, you can see this situation as an opportunity to start over. Maybe this is a chance to look for a job more aligned with your values or to develop new skills. Direct benefit. By practicing amor fati, you develop a more positive and resilient mindset. Instead of fighting your circumstances, you learn to accept them and find opportunities for growth in each situation. This reduces anxiety and increases your ability to deal with adversity. Memento mori, remember death. The memento mori, which means remember that you will die, may seem bleak at first glance, but it is one of the most liberating principles of Stoicism. The idea is not to paralyze us with the fear of death, but rather to remind us of the brevity of life so that we can live with more purpose and intentionality. Practical example. Imagine you are procrastinating on an important project or postponing a difficult conversation with someone you love. As you reflect on memento mori, you realize that time is precious and there are no guarantees of tomorrow. This can motivate you to take action now instead of putting off what really matters. Direct benefit. Awareness of the finiteness of life helps us prioritize our actions and focus on what really matters. This reduces procrastination, increases clarity about our goals, and allows us to live more authentically and meaningfully. Virtue as the supreme good for the Stoics. Virtue is the only true good and the basis for a full and meaningful life. Virtues such as wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control are not just abstract ideals, but practices that we can cultivate daily. Seneca, one of the great Stoic philosophers, claimed that virtue is the only thing that cannot be taken from us. Practical example. Imagine you are facing a difficult decision at work where you have to choose between acting ethically or seeking immediate personal gain. By prioritizing the virtue of justice, you choose to do what is right, even if it means a sacrifice in the short term. This choice not only strengthens your character, but also builds trust and respect around you. Direct benefit. By putting virtue first, you develop a sense of integrity and purpose. This brings a sense of accomplishment that is not dependent on external circumstances such as wealth, status, or recognition. Virtue becomes an inexhaustible source of happiness and resilience. Living according to nature. For the Stoics, living in accordance with nature means understanding and accepting the natural order of the universe, including our own human nature. This involves recognizing that we are part of a greater whole, and that our happiness depends on living in harmony with that whole. Epictetus taught that freedom and happiness come from understanding the nature of things and accepting our role in them. Practical example. Imagine you are facing an unexpected change, such as moving to another city or a personal loss. Instead of resisting and fighting the situation, you can reflect on how this change is part of the natural flow of life. By accepting and adapting, you find peace and clarity to move forward. Direct benefit. Living in accordance with nature helps us find balance and serenity, even in the midst of change and uncertainty. This reduces anxiety and allows us to live more authentically and in line with our values. Detachment from external things. The Stoics believed that true happiness cannot depend on things that are beyond our control, such as wealth, fame, or the opinions of others. Instead, it must come from within, from our ability to live with virtue and wisdom. Marcus Aurelius reflected on this in his writings, saying, "You have power over your mind, not over external events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Practical example. Imagine that you are constantly seeking approval on social media, measuring your value by the number of likes or comments. When you practice detachment, you realize that your self-esteem should not depend on these external metrics. Instead, you focus on being true to yourself and acting in accordance with your values. Direct benefit. Detachment from external things frees us from the need for constant validation and allows us to find peace and satisfaction within ourselves. This reduces anxiety, excessive comparison, and feelings of inadequacy. Control of emotions. The Stoics believed that emotions, although natural, should not control our actions. Instead of reacting impulsively, we can learn to observe our emotions, understand them, and choose how to respond to them. Seneca, in his writings, compared emotions to a wild horse. If you do not tame your emotions, they will dominate you. Practical example. Imagine someone makes a rude or offensive comment about you. Instead of reacting with anger or frustration, you can take a deep breath, reflect on what really matters, and choose to respond calmly and assertively. This not only avoids unnecessary conflicts, but also strengthens your emotional integrity. Direct benefit. Controlling our emotions allows us to act with wisdom and balance, even in challenging situations. This improves our relationships, increases our resilience, and helps us make more conscious decisions aligned with our values. Focus on the present. The Stoics believed that the present is the only moment we truly have. The past is gone, and the future is uncertain. Therefore, the key to inner peace is living fully in the now. Marcus Aurelius reflected on this, saying, "Don't waste any more time arguing about what a good man should be one." Practical example. Imagine that you are constantly worried about the future, anxious about events that have not yet happened. By practicing focusing on the present, you focus on everyday tasks and interactions, giving your best in each moment. This not only reduces anxiety, but also increases your productivity and satisfaction. Direct benefit. Focusing on the present helps us reduce anxiety and stress, allowing us to live more fully and consciously. This improves our ability to appreciate the little things in life and act with intentionality. Chankins. Acceptance of adversities. For the Stoics, adversity is not something to be avoided, but rather a natural part of life that can strengthen us and teach valuable lessons. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This mindset helps us face challenges with resilience and wisdom. Practical example. Imagine that you are facing a major difficulty at work, such as a project that is not working out or a demanding boss. Instead of despairing or giving up, you can see this situation as an opportunity to develop new skills, such as patience, creativity, and persistence. Direct benefit. Accepting adversity allows us to transform challenges into opportunities for growth. This increases our resilience, strengthens our character, and helps us face future difficulties with more confidence and serenity. Voluntary simplicity. The Stoics valued simplicity as a path to freedom and inner peace. By reducing our material needs and desires, we can free ourselves from the bondage of consumerism and the constant search for more. Seneca, in his writings, stated, "Wealth does not consist in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Practical example. Imagine that you are constantly looking to buy new things, be it a better car, fashionable clothes, or technological gadgets. By adopting voluntary simplicity, you reflect on what you really need and value, eliminating excess and focusing on what is essential. This may mean living with fewer possessions, but with more meaning and satisfaction. Direct benefit. Voluntary simplicity helps us find contentment and inner peace, reducing the stress and anxiety associated with the constant search for more. Furthermore, it allows us to direct our time and energy towards what really matters, such as relationships, personal growth, and contributing to others. Service to others. The Stoics believe that we are part of a larger community and that our happiness is intrinsically linked to the well-being of others. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote, "What is not good for the hive is not good for the bee." This means that our actions should benefit not only ourselves, but also those around us. Practical example. Imagine you have the opportunity to help a coworker who is struggling. Instead of just focusing on your own goals, you take time to guide and support you. This attitude not only strengthens your relationship, but also creates a more collaborative and positive work environment. Direct benefit. Service to others brings us a sense of purpose and connection, increasing our satisfaction and happiness. Furthermore, it strengthens community ties and creates a cycle of generosity and mutual support. Throughout this video, we explore 12 Stoic principles that can transform your life, bringing you more emotional balance, focus, and satisfaction. From the dichotomy of control to service to others, each principle offers a practical tool for dealing with everyday challenges and living more fully and meaningfully. You learn to differentiate between what is in your control and what is not, to embrace adversity as opportunities for growth, to live in the present, and to cultivate gratitude. He also discovered how virtue, simplicity, and service to others can bring a deep sense of purpose and connection. Now, it's time to put these teachings into practice. Choose one or two principles that resonate most with you and start applying them today. Remember, transformation doesn't happen overnight, but every small step you take toward a more stoic life is a step toward a more balanced and fulfilling life. Don't postpone your transformation. Start now and see the difference these principles can make in your life. And if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss future content. Share this video with someone who also needs a positive transformation. As Seneca said, life is long if you know how to use it. So use it well.